Katharine Birbalsingh is the self-styled strictest head teacher in Britain with a stellar reputation for teaching children basic manners and respect and hard work ethic. I can't think of a better person, frankly, to speak to when I read that children in schools across Britain are now identifying as cats, horses, dinosaurs, and in one case, a moon. A reminder of the leaked audio recording that brought the bizarre scandal to light, featuring a teacher reprimanding children for refusing to accept a classmate's decision to identify as a cat.
If they want to identify as a cat or something, then they're like genuinely unwell. And they're crazy.
You're questioning their identity.
I wasn't a questioner. I was just saying about the gender. I didn't say anything about them.
But where do you get this idea from? There's only two genders. Gender is not linked to the parts that you were born with. Gender is about how you identify. That you identify with the gender of the sexual organ that you're born with or you're with. That's basically what you're saying, which is really despicable.
Well, Katharine, what did you make of that when you heard that tape and read the story behind it?
Yeah, well, actually, for some weeks before that, I had been talking about cats in schools because I know of teachers in schools where that's happening.
It's called furries, right? This is a real thing.
Furries, exactly. And in some places, you know, they're able to wear ears and tails and things. And the thing is, I don't blame the schools because...
Don't you?
No, because in fact, in some places, the parents are coming in and telling the schools, this is how you must treat my child. So
why don't the schools just say no? You would, wouldn't you?
Well,
I bet there are no kids at your school dressing up as cats, identifying as cats. Are there?
That's true. No, there are.
You wouldn't allow it, would you?
Well, no, but I mean, I'd have a conversation with the parents, and that's the thing. This isn't just a school problem. This is a societal problem, and it's something that we need to talk about and think, well, what is acceptable and what isn't. And the problem is there's no guidance for schools as well. So head teachers and ordinary teachers in the classroom, what are they meant to do? I do feel sorry for them, really, because they're getting it in the neck, and I get that it's difficult.
But well, I don't think it is that difficult. If a kid identifies as a horse in the classroom, you're not obliged to tolerate it.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think you would.
No, but, you know, I do have secondary school children. You know, if they're primary, they're young. If you have children that are finding it difficult to fit in, and then they decide to behave in it's a slightly strange way. How much do you support? At what stage do you feel you're enabling them or you're helping them? You know, it's difficult. It's not a straight cut as just saying, well, this is just, you know, silly. I mean,
this also plays into limitless self-identity, which must be causing all sorts of problems at all sorts of schools.
Yes.
How do you deal with that? And what's your view of that?
Yeah, well, it is difficult. I mean, and we need guidance. It's very hard because it isn't just the schools, it's also the parents. And the difficulty that any head teacher has is trying to balance what they feel is right for the children at their school and what they're offering, and then also trying to do what's right by the parents and what the parents want.
But there are now girls' schools marketing themselves as girls' schools, selling fees as girls' schools for their girls to go to a girls' school, who now outlaw the use of the word girl because there may be some people identifying as non-binary who may be offended. I find that absurd. Yes,
but then the rest of society possibly doesn't, and that's the difficulty.
Well, I think most of society does, actually.
Well, but would they say it out loud? You know,
no,
that's the thing.
But that's where we've got to. I would, because I think it's nuts.
Yeah.
And also I think it's very hypocritical of a school to market itself as a girls' school and then suppress the use of the word girl. So I think there's a real hypocrisy there.
Yeah.
But I think there's also a bit of a moral cowardice. I really do.
Yes.
I mean, schools, when I was young, schools took a moral lead.
Yes.
I don't remember teachers marching in and having everything changed to acquiesce to what their idea of teaching would be.
Yes, but that's the case with all kinds of things. This is not just with regard to this issue, but with regard to everything. Schools used to take a moral stance on things and used to lead the way for a society.
But you do to a degree.
Yes, we do, but I think we're quite...
And you've become very polarising as a result for reasons that completely baffle me.
Yes.
I mean, you run a school which is run on discipline and hard work ethic and politeness and respect.
Yes.
These used to be things that we thought made our country great.
I know. And
what's going on? Why are you suddenly a villain?
I don't know. It's a very good question. You would think that this would be what all of us want, but society has changed. That's the thing. So then when you're saying it's the fault of schools, but you look at this, I stand up for traditional values and I'm hated for it. So do you really expect all head teachers to do that? We're asking too much of them. But the real problem with that whole issue is when schools aren't communicating with parents, where schools are taking children down certain roads and are not letting parents know. And
Are
that
parents
is a real
being too
problem.
weak or too strong? I mean, are they having too much power now at schools, or are they being too weak with their kids, empowering them to have supposedly too much power?
Yeah, well, both, frankly. I think teachers and parents, we as adults, have abdicated authority and responsibility. And children depend on us to push back and to show them the way, to guide them and lead them. And unfortunately, I'd say over the last 40 to 50 years, we've lost the whole concept of adult authority. And parents and teachers want to be friends with the kids as opposed to being the adult in authority.
You've had a big spat this week with Jess Phillips from the Labour Party, and you've actually written to Sir Keir Starmer, the leader.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, what was it about?
Well, there was no spat. She just attacked 4 times to 630,000 followers for no reason. I don't know Jess Phillips. She doesn't know me. And she sent out these tweets to her followers saying that I believed in domestic violence.
This is because when Tina Turner died, you tweeted a
That's right.
picture of her with Ike Turner.
Well, it
who
was a
obviously-
malfunctioning GIF. And for some reason, it ended up on that picture. And I said, good times. Now, obviously, anyone normal would look at that and think, well, it was a mistake. But she chose the opportunity to lash out at me 4 times, 1 million views, a whole load of people attacking me. She's an MP, Minister for Safeguarding, or Shadow Minister. She called into question the safeguarding policies at my school. She called into question my ability to do my job. Why? I mean, I don't have anything to do with justice.
Well, is it because you gave a speech to the National Conservatism Conference? In other words, they view you now as being political on the other side.
You say that. At every political conference, party political conference, there will be head teachers and teachers who speak at the Labour conference, at the Conservative conference. But what doesn't happen is a black head teacher who goes and speaks at a National Conservative conference, which had nothing to do with the Conservative Party. But the fact is, there is an unconscious bias on the left where they sort of believe, no, and not everybody on the left, but too many think that black people should not lean conservative. And the fact is...
That's true.
I do lean conservative, generally speaking, but I believe in unconscious bias. That's quite a leftist idea. So I'm a bit, I have ideas from both sides. And the problem with this particular type of unconscious bias is that because it belongs to the left reject it. The right don't like to recognize racist unconscious bias. So neither side is recognizing that this is an issue. I think it's something that Priti Patel, Suella Braverman, Kemi Badenoch, I think they suffer from it too. I think I suffer from it regularly, where people say, how dare you go and speak at that conference? And I think, well, why shouldn't I speak at that conference?
Well, some of the things you said, I was cheering, and I don't identify as right-wing. But you said at the conference that the audience should act as if they felt their children's schools did not reflect the small C conservative values. Well, I'm asking you, said, how much do you love your country?
Yeah.
How much do you love the values that you claim to defend? Do you love them enough to tweet under your own name?
Yeah.
Do you love them enough to change your child's school to one that's less woke?
Yeah.
Ignore the impact on your social status?
Yeah.
Do you love them enough to do more than simply chat to your friends who already agree with you at dinner parties? For heaven's sake, man, you said, stand up and be counted. As Russell Crowe says in the film Gladiator, a clip you regularly play to your staff, hold the line, stay with me, what we do in life echoes in eternity.
That's right.
I wanted to cheer that.
Yeah.
Not because I think you're conservative,
Yeah.
but because actually these used to be values which most British people held. And I suspect a lot more still do than people think.
Well, and what I was trying to say to them is, if you think these things, then get up and say it. For goodness sakes. And, after I spoke to them, a woman stopped me on her bike on the street and she said, I'm going to speak out more. I'm going to say what I think. And I thought, great, that's what we need to do. Because too many people are quiet about what they
totally
think.
agree. There is a silent majority. They're getting a little noisier, but they're all kowtowed by cancel culture.
Exactly.
Because the woke left have been basically terrorising people.
That's right.
And they've come for you hard, and I'm very glad to see that you've continued to put your head over the parapet.
Well,
have you
I'm
heard
trying.
back from Keir Starmer?
No, but it hasn't been that long. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed.
We'll nudge him. I'm sure he'll respond.